You've likely seen a lot or heard a lot about the ride-sharing service Uber. It's been in operation for a handful of years now in big cities around the globe, and last month it started offering rides here in Colombia. Uber has gotten a lot of positive press for its ease of use, its cashless payment systems, but it's been criticized too for not ensuring the safety of drivers and passengers, and in some cases trying to skirt regulation like other livery services. Well, one of the company's senior executives suggested that it should hire people to do operation research on unfriendly journalists and make public details of their private lives. This story broke in, of all places, BuzzFeed, causing an awful lot of uproar. It was originally directed at a woman named Sarah Lacey with the site Pando Daily. What were her claims about?
Well, she was basically criticizing Uber for being sexist, misogynistic, apparently running some campaign in France where they were talking about beautiful babe drivers picking you up. And apparently the CEO of the company has said some things that she at least takes to be very sexist in the past. She's been calling them out on that. And so here's this executive, Emil Michael, saying, well, we ought to just look into her background. And he says it at a private invitation-only dinner party of bigwigs, including media folks. And the fact that he thought that he could get away with saying that in front of the editor-in-chief of BuzzFeed is amazing to me.
Yeah, it didn't make sense when I first read it. I was going like, wait a minute, nothing's off the record. I mean, do we need to go back to Mitt Romney and the 47%?
I love when I send you stories and they get wait, what did she just send me?
Yeah. I cannot believe in today's age that people who are in these positions don't understand that whenever you make a comment in front of a group or in any setting, that it is on the record, regardless of what you might think or what someone may say.
I wish I felt like something good would come from this story, and frankly, I'm skeptical enough to think it won't. I mean, it follows the same old trajectory. Oh, first he when he gets caught, he thought it was off the record, whatever that means, and then he apologizes.
And
they always apologize.
And then they hired a PR firm to come in and sort of figure out a way to turn it all around and make it
a PR. David Plouffe, the Obama campaign guru, is the guy that's trying to shape this company's message, and yet, is it going to make any difference at all? There was a really interesting quote in Bloomberg, the business publication. One of their columnists was saying, not going to hurt Uber at all because these venture capital firms that invest in them to give them all their money, they just don't care about public perception as long as they think that there is going to be a profit and that there's going to be an exit for them. So what? Who cares?
But here's what I think the problem for Uber is going to be. Just this week, the city of Columbia has basically said that they can't operate until they live up to the agreements that they've made.
And the same standards.
The same standards
for
as taxi
insurance
cabs,
and
insurance,
safety, yes.
Permits, the whole 9 yards. And Uber is basically saying, well, we don't think that this is right. We're going to fight it. We're not going to abide by it. Well, I think that the city of Columbia has some legs to stand on, because if everyone else who is doing pretty much the same kind of service that Uber is doing is living up to these standards, I don't see why Uber shouldn't do the same thing.
I'll tell you what I think is really disingenuous and dangerous about this story, because of course the company denied, and Emil Michael denied, that this was really how he feels, or that he was just talking hypothetically. They wouldn't really look at journalists' background.
Behind every joke is a little bit of truth.
But there is truth to the fact that Uber has access to the travel records, the data of people, including journalists, through something called the God View. And they looked at one of the journalists who was doing a story about them and were tracking where they went.
Well, and that's one of those things, is people are downloading apps that they aren't always necessarily paying attention to what the permissions are that they're giving up on their phones and what information they're giving to people. So the journalists who are being tracked through the God View have given Uber the right and the permission to go ahead and do that.
And this goes back to the whole ease of use thing across the spectrum. I mean, people want to have that ease of use. They want to be able to have access to certain things. But when you go for that, when you say, okay, I want to use this, you're also allowing them into your world. And
this is another example, if we need another example, of the fact that people really ought to be focusing on what businesses do with their data and big data, not just what the NSA does.
And we've talked about that a lot. This semester, we've talked a lot about that.
And I'll tell you, Uber could care less. I have used Uber before. I've had the app on my phone for a while. I'm not using it anymore.